Hi, so my name is Laura Hicks. This is my first semester for my master's in industrial and organizational psychology. I have really enjoyed this class compared to things such as research that I have really struggled with, but this class really highlights my interest in the field. And I look forward to presenting you my midterm oral assignment. I do have notes here in front of me that I will tend to glance down at, but in the grand scheme of things, I will give you an overview of the 5 questions with included information from the Jackson Brick textbook. The first question is regarding Chapter 1, and this asks about how recent historical events have affected the growth and research in organizational psychology. I will give an example and any outcomes that I think came from this event. In the textbook, it is explained that organizational psychology can go all the way back to the Bible time, with Jethro in the book of Exodus giving his son-in-law Moses the order to staff and manage the ancient Israelites. I find this very important because a lot of people tend to think of psychology as clinical or abnormal psychology. Psychology is actually divided into many focuses, but we each seek a common ground of finding why humans behave and understanding the human nature. In organizational psychology, this is often done with extensive research. IO interests me because it studies the psychological principles through a scientific approach and focuses on the application from the individuals. I find this interesting because we always want to realize why someone is ticking, and organizations are now finding it very beneficial and cost-effective to partner with IO psychologists to have a greater production for not only them as an organization as a whole, but the well-being of the employees. And I really like the focus on the mental health and the well-being of the individual and them as a whole within the organization. Organizational side of IO psychology is geared towards understanding behaviors in order to promote the well-being in the workplace and ensure all organizational members are satisfied. Now, this may be hard to ensure that all organizational members are satisfied, but to show that we are putting forth the effort to assess and bring forth programs to do this will show our organizational members that you care. One example from the text is the Frederick Winslow Taylor, who developed the principle of the scientific management. This dates all the way back to 1911, which is very intriguing. Interesting enough, he wasn't even a psychologist. He was known for introducing the principle for piece rate. This means the individuals are paid for the work that they complete and not the time that it took to complete it. In the text, it is also noted 3 in-depth aspects of this proposal being those who perform the task should separate from those who design them. Workers are rational beings and work harder if provided monetary incentive. And last, problems in the workplace can and should be subject to empirical study. I feel that over time we have debunked the concept of being paid more will create job satisfaction in order of creating great job performance, because many studies have proven that individuals prefer happiness and support from their organizational involvements. This is important because a lot of people think that if we give an employee a monetary incentive, it will keep them there and keep them content with their position. I think what we as humans are seeking out is effective relationships, communication, and support within our workplace and within our home life. I think also that the idea of separating the employees from the supervisor has changed too, because it is important that all members feel and actively involve themselves in decisions regarding their work. You don't want to have a organization where you have superiors just barking orders to others. So I feel like that is very, very important. In conclusion, the text has taught us most organizational psychologists do not think financial incentives will completely fulfill the void for the dull and repetitive work in organizations. I think that Taylor promoted a great start to the field of psychology, and I believe that he was 100% correct about the importance of conducting empirical studies on the workplace, because from multiple studies done throughout all of the hundreds of years of this organizational psychology development, we have found answers to why and how humans react to workplace environments. Okay, the next question is going to be regarding Chapter 3. This question says to describe the socialization process for graduate students in your program. Is the program successful in socializing newcomers and creating job embeddedness? I think organizational socialization is the foundation to building a successful organization. Collaboration is the process that allows applicants to learn the values and missions of the group, which the text informed us is the employees prefer their values and their organization values to align. You want to be involved with others and other entities that share your same passions and drives, so your goals align and you can work towards common ground and common goals. Socialization is the evolution of taking an outsider to becoming a professionally functioning organizational member, and it should not be confused with onboarding, which is all the formal and informal practices, programs, and policies for new employees when they are brought on to a new job. Socialization is very much more long-term and extensive compared to onboarding. The importance of socialization is inspiring newcomers to build relationships and promotes productive teamwork. I am a big fan of teamwork, and I think that's why I'm very intrigued with the study of industrial and organizational psychology, because it is very important for organizations to have that effective communication and teamwork in order to produce effective work within their organization. Being that this is an online program, I do highly feel that Liberty tries to integrate all online and students together. They do have non-course classes that stimulate relationships in which we can go in and ask for prayer, ask for help, or merely just make connections with other people that are having common goals as ourselves, which is going back to school and gaining a higher education. These comfort and show you that not only are we distant from class, but we can be close to the people that are also performing these tasks. We can get on and chat with them, and I really, really enjoy the support that we receive from all the financial advisors. I've never had any issues with trying to get in touch with someone, scheduling classes, any financial aid. It has all been great experience for me. Each professor allows usually a segment where the students can introduce themselves, their goals, and respond to classmates with positive encouragement. This ultimately resulted in my happiness with this program. I've had a great introductory period, being that this is my first semester of grad school, and all the professors have been more than open to helping and answering any questions, building support, and boosting my self-esteem. I have graduated with my bachelor's at the age of 20, and I decided to take a year off from school, which was not the best idea, but this has been a program that really has integrated me back into the aspect of learning well, even though it has not been in the classroom, and I have been doing this over the internet. Job embeddedness is experience and a feeling of being fit for the organization through aspects such as connectedness with the members and even sacrifices one makes to be a productive team member. I think with coming back to grad school, we all know that you make sacrifices within your family, your work, and your social lives. And I think it is important that This setup for an online format has really allowed me to the platform of juggling the stresses of being a student well, along with having this productive home and work life as well. Liberty instills a lot of balance and flexibility for those who have full-time positions in work and even in home life. Most people who are embedded into their goals tend to be more motivated and succeed, not only for themselves, but for the organizations that they represent. So I do have really, really high goals for myself, and I intend to take this a step further and get my doctorate degree. But not only am I working for myself to get a better job, a better education, I'm actually very, very intrigued, and I promote Liberty on the daily basis. I think it is a great program, and anyone that would be able to get into the program and complete it would be very, very fortunate. Next is Chapter 4. The question on this is, how can organizations reduce or prevent work-family conflict? Work-family conflict have precursors that are grouped into 4 classifications. That's individual, family, and societal. We learned that in the textbook, and the goal is to gain insight from analysis and conduct research and learn to change and operate in a fashion to become more family-oriented for the employees. An example of work factors are positions that hold employees to high levels of stress, unpredictability, and pressure. This is all linked to work-family conflict. Particular employees portray individual factors resulting in work-family conflict. For example, an extremely devoted worker with great passion for their environments. Researchers learned that home life situations such as having a fully dependent child or issues within the marriage will create difficulty of finding balance between the 2 entities. So this is a very important aspect, and I love Chapter 4 because we get to look at the person as a whole and not only what they do for the organization, but how they are in their home life, their social life, and what we can do to create positive outcome for the organization and great well-being for the employees' mental health, along with their personal goals. I think work-family conflict and work-family fit are dependent upon the home life exigencies, like family members doing well, the number of children, the support received from personal relationships and individuals' communities. But the corporation's traditional policies that lack innovation generate work-family conflict. And if there were more schedule control employees, I think we would come up with a decrease in these anxieties. Employees did testify in studies that having more control in their home life resulted in less family interference with work and less interference with work and their family. 3 subjects that were addressed in a research to reduce work-family conflict and increase employee well-being were support from the superiors, encouragement from their family, and proper use of problem-focused coping. So that's 3 factors. We want the support from our management positions. We want our family to support us. But lastly, we must have proper self-care and coping mechanisms if we do incur problems. I think changing organizational culture will take time to effectively implement in any organization, but a performance management system will calculate positive attitudes and high production due to becoming more family accommodating. Cultivating a movement will produce above average quality care for the organization's employees and allow them to feel imperative to the establishment, which I think is the ultimate goal for organizations. Not only do they want to be cost effective and have production for themselves, but they want their employees to feel important, appreciated, and valued. The next way is to put into action for the employees to have the schedule control and concentrate on the individual differences to assimilate personal power and organization production. Individuals that exhibit extreme scheduling behavior resulted in a negative correlation between work interference with family and control of work through research. Research concluded that increasing an employee's schedule control proves that workplace initiative positively affects work-family interference. Project management activities, such as the self-schedule control that I'm talking of, will allow employees to see a planned goal is advanced or lagging, and either suggest counteractive or preemptive proceedings to stay on track. So if an employee can have a little bit more control within their schedule, they can see the end to this goal. They can have these feelings of advancing, or they can find where they are lagging and what they need to do to better promote or produce for themselves and for the organization. I think it is vital to moderate an employee's perception of balance between work life and home life, along with avoiding unhealthy actions geared toward increasing self-worth. So we must not get caught up in building self-worth, even though it is highly important, but we also need to focus on team collaboration. Self-worth is very, very highly important, but we need to take a person's personal attributes and apply them to the group as a whole. I think during organizational socialization, we're taught the company's values and cultures, but with the program, we need to instill a more balanced workplace where it will take time for all employees to accept. We should spark informal socialization, which is interacting with coworkers, watching your superiors, comprehending the company morals, and these will have more lasting effects within the organizational socialization period and promote aligned behavior changes. I think we should encourage power planning behaviors and promote aligned behavior changes that shows a sense of control. We all like to have a sense of control, whether it be our home life, our work life. There has to be a sense of control to feel like you are showing and promoting for the organization and yourself. An individual's capability to successfully shift from that personal aspect energy from work life to home life can be credited to characteristics of being organizationally designed, which we as humans are all set up to be able to manage our energy. It is up to us on how well we do manage our energy and where we promote our positive energy towards. Organizations will all make sure that supervisors are skilled and are open-minded and capable of supporting their employees' family needs and resulting in family supportive supervision. This is very important because a lot of organizational members, their family holds high importance on their priority list, and the organizations need to show that they care. Opening a channel for non-judgment communication is the key starting point to building trusting relationships with your superiors. Fulfilling the employee's needs for the sense of balance and creating the most as possible stress-free workplace, I think you will see magnificent change in balance in creating upbeat behavior and positive productive energy, resulting hopefully in good job satisfaction and positive external ratings. Work-family conflict is very unavoidable, and it's very well known within the field. At all stages of employment, it is experienced, and it is important to properly address it by the organization and the employee from the time of entering the workforce to exiting the workforce. Next is Chapter 5, and the question is, imagine you have been asked to develop a performance assessment program for employee development. What techniques could you use to adequately evaluate employee performance as comprehensively as possible? Think of Murphy's List. With this one, job performance is very complex, and it's defined more clearly as the behaviors that employees participate in their workplace to contribute to the organizational goal. I think two vital subjects of job performance are in-role task performance and extra-role task performance. The performance on a practical aspect is the in-role, and the performance that are non-procedural aspects to our jobs, such as being motivational and a team player, will show a greater sense of the employee as a whole and their performance. That's what I'm trying to get at. To produce reliable research, the 3 areas need to be addressed in job performance. That's restriction and the unpredictability of job performance, the insecurity of job performance over time, and the grand measurement of job performance. I think the ultimate goal is to retain all positive organizational members. And 2 well-known methods is to assess the employees on an individual level on their tasks, and also a rating of their overall job performance. It has been shown and studied that bias can be shown through supervisors and develop unfair employee treatment through these ratings. So I'm going to address a couple other ways that I think we can effectively have a performance assessment program that will try to exclude bias. Research concluded organizations must broaden their focus past getting correct ratings and provide time and resource to the employees for effective communication and training. It has been proven time and time again we need to focus our energy on communication and training so the employee knows the full company's expectations. I believe in using the holistic tactics to assess the employees and the organization through rounded methods for complete satisfaction within both parties. For example, an interpersonal relationship study has been proven that having friends at work results in higher satisfaction, and lack of support causes feelings of great work stress. So we need to open up that line of communication and show that there's support within your organization, that you can ask for help and not feel like we're divided up. I used to work in medical billing where my job description was very vague. If I asked for questions, I would get the runaround, and I pretty much had to teach myself coding, accounts receivable, all while being the first contact for the patients to call and get any billing. So there was no teamwork. It was very stressful, and it was actually the last job that I quit before going back in to obtain my master's. I think it's important that we must focus not on just ratings, but learn to understand each individual's personalities, their organizational relationships, and the capacity to which they can perform their job on a practical and the impractical manner, which is being nice, going the extra mile. And this may be harder to tell and assess, but I feel like it's something that needs to be assessed, whether it be from feedback from the people you're serving or observational feedback from your supervisors on how you perform on a daily basis. It is vital to remember the most important individual variables that influence job performance are general mental ability, job experience, and the reliability and thoroughness in every employee's actions. That was addressed in the readings, and that really stuck with me because we all must have the mental ability to do the job. We must have experience to go along with our new job, and we must be reliable for that organization to prove that we are there for not only building of themselves, but for a learning experience for the employee. I think above all, a plan that will produce above quality care for the organization's employees and allow them to be and feel important for the establishment will be a great start to being able to assess them, whether it be their in-role performance or their extra role performances. Next is Chapter 6. The question on this was, what are some possible common organizational constraints? How could you lead to counterproductive, how do these lead to counterproductive behaviors? So in the text, counterproductive work was defined as an employee's behavior such as being rude or withdrawn that oppose the organizational goals. So this is opposite to job performance, and it's something that is needs to be very studied within the field of organizational psychology. It is important for the company to correctly assess the job duties and effectively explain them to future and current employees. There's many changes within any organization, and it is very important to properly give current employees all the new information of any changes and fully integrate them into this organizational process. Behaviors in organizations can be addressed through two ideas of performance. That's innovation, the employees creatively addressing the company's tasks, and then adaptability, which is the behaviors that employees expose when they are in transforming or testing situations within the organization. We as humans thrive in trusting relationships, and if there's strong organizational bonding through socialization, this will lead to job satisfaction and produce positivity for the company's creations and the employees' well-being. There is person-based causes for counterproductive behaviors, such as trait anger, self-control, and narcissism. So there are some things that are out of the organization's control that can cause counterproductive behavior, and that is based on the personality of the employee in which they have hired. On the other hand, there are situational based behaviors that are presented to the employees within their work life. And this could be opportunities that the organization presents to them, the norms within the organization, and injustice within the workplace, which is not being treated fairly or poor compensation. I think all jobs have demands, and it just depends on how high and stressful they are. A demand on a job consists of system-imposed demands, which are meetings, reports being due, all of that stuff that your manager needs you to get done in order to be successful. Other ones can be staff-imposed demands. This could be leading or training new employees. In the organization I used to work for, they picked the same girl in the billing department to train every employee. Not sure why they went through this tactic, because she always seemed burnt out. She was not interested, and she did not really relay the message and the information to new employees well. So it didn't come off as a very good process for the new employee to be integrated into the billing department. They could have broken the training down in between different people within the billing department and not stress her out so much, but that's definitely a constraint in the workplace that can cause her to have a counterproductive behavior. Another one can be your own self-imposed demands, which are your own personal goals and expectations. We all have goals and expectations for ourselves, and our own goals can deter us from working towards the organizational goals if we think that they aren't aligned. So it's very good that we have aligned, open communication on where we see ourselves both within the organization and personally. Common constraints are known as organizational policies, a resource limit that you have within your organization, and even the type of environment that is within your department. Which is whether there's any effective communication, teamwork, or are there negative attitudes towards the organizational goals. I think it's very important for organizations to try to recognize and avoid any work stressors within the workplace to produce quality work and diminish counterproductive behaviors. All organizations are going to have constraints, no matter where you work. If you're the front desk or the manager, it is important to openly ask for help, know the constraints, put into action on how to have great self-assessment and coping mechanisms, and work well with your organization to promote your own well-being as well as promote their organizational goals. I hope that you have enjoyed this presentation, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you, and I look forward to the rest of the class. Have a great day.